Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Locked On Flames. This is editing Jess here, just jumping in to say that we have your exclusive interview with Ty Palmer of the Victoria Royals, who is an absolute sensation in net, and I'm so excited to have him on today's show.
You're Locked On Flames, your daily podcast on the Calgary Flames. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Locked On Flames. One more quick segment here before we jump into the interview. Today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline, where the games begin. As always, remember to gamble responsibly and have some fun out there. But before we jump into the interview, I do want to let y'all know that Ty Palmer is eligible for the draft this year, and it was fantastic getting to talk to him about, his commitment to the game, him setting franchise records, and just how much he's learned about himself at such a pivotal point in his career. So let's jump right into it. All righty. Well, welcome, Tyler. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so excited to have you here. And I know our listeners are definitely excited to get to know you. So you spent this season, it was your rookie season, if I looked at this correctly, with the Victoria Royals, the WHL. How was that?
It was really fun. Royals are a great organization, and Victoria is a great city. So, great team, great group of guys there. It was just a really fun season.
Yeah. What was your favorite thing about it, or something that you learned about yourself as a player?
I learned really how important the recovery phase, especially during a dense game schedule.
Mm-hmm.
How important, how detailed you have to be in taking care of your body to be ready to play the next day. That was a big thing I learned this year.
Oh, absolutely. And I can only imagine, especially as a goaltender, how sore you can be after making some of those saves.
Yeah, sometimes it gets a little bit wild, but for the most part, it depends on the game, really. It depends on your shot volume or just density in general. Sometimes you feel fine, sometimes you're completely done. So
how did you feel after that 50-shot shutout?
The adrenaline was in at that point, so I felt fine after that.
Yeah, that's rather impressive, honestly. So that's, like you said, the adrenaline's going, but you're still focused and just lasered in on it. Growing up, or even now, did you model your game after a certain player?
I've always loved Marc-Andre Fleury. So, I love how athletic and acrobatic he can be. But then, I also really like Carey Price, all the top guys really. But Carey Price is another big one, which he's almost on the complete opposite end, where he's completely calm. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. I guess I just tried to take things from a bunch of different guys and kind of just put them into my own model.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think it's important. I'm not an athlete. I just talk about you guys. So I think it's, important to not set in stone necessarily who you model yourself after, but play to your own strengths. So you were named Rookie of the Year at the Showcase Awards. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about your rookie season?
Really it was a big learning curve. My whole junior, even last, not just this year, but the last year I played in the AJHL with the Spruce Grove Saints. It was all a big learning curve really for me. And I'm sure there's a lot more to learn still. But yeah, just I'd say last year, for the most part, the big learning thing was more the mental side of the game and just how like aware you have to be of where you are. So like, not only do you have to be like locked in on the game, but you have to be aware of what your like emotions are, you have to be so like centered on it. You don't want to be too high or too low at any time. So there was that. And then also I just said this year, the taking care of your body and just the whole recovery side of it, that was, putting those things together, I found really, really helped me out.
That's great. So do you have you been watching the Stanley Cup final or the playoffs even?
Yeah. I've been watching quite a bit. I didn't catch game one actually of the final series, but I seen the other two, which were odd games. But
yeah, and now this one right now, as we're recording, is going into overtime, which I'm I don't know, I asked for a more competitive game, and I think finally got what what I asked for.
Yeah, because it was weird. I mean, the first game was I don't know, I didn't actually watch it, but it seemed okay. The scoreline wasn't ridiculous, and then 7-0, 6-2 was weird. Yeah,
absolutely. Do you think that Tampa is gonna three-peat?
I don't know. It's kind of 50-50 for me, to be honest. I think this, Tampa's, they're a really resilient team. I think they're gonna, even being down 2-0, I think they're gonna make a really good series out of it. So
absolutely, like this is definitely a series that's gonna go 7 at 6 at least. So
yeah,
it will be an interesting one. But regardless, I think this was like the first year in a long time where the two best teams in the league made the final.
Yeah, for sure.
Growing up, or even now, did you have a favorite team or favorite players or anything like that?
My favorite team for a while was actually the Pittsburgh Penguins. And mostly that was because of Marc-Andre Fleury. I loved Fleury. So that was then kind of when he went to Vegas, I was kind of like, wow.
Well,
I don't know what. Yeah, so I kind of still follow the Penguins, but my dad's also an Oilers fan, so I started to follow the Oilers. So I didn't really have like a complete favorite team at the time. This year I was watching the Oilers quite a bit, so I do enjoy watching the Oilers.
Well, you're winning over Flames fans with that for sure.
I know, right? I know. I'm sure everyone's gonna be so happy. No, I do. I'd like the Flames too, actually, which is kind of weird, but yeah, no, I've got lots of cousins who live in Southern Alberta, lots of families, so there's always there's a lot of Flames fans in the family as well. So you can't have like too much of a bias.
Yeah.
Or else it's just going to be a huge feud. So, which there is sometimes, anyways. But yeah.
Yeah. Did you watch the Battle of Alberta this postseason? What did you think of it?
I honestly thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be Calgary in 7. I wasn't sure if Edmonton was going to. Yeah, that's what I thought.
I truly thought that it was going to be Calgary in 7, but I don't know. Mike Smith and Jacob Markstrom switched bodies at some point or something, because it did not look like Jacob Markstrom out there.
No, it really didn't. No, it was a weird to watch. And I mean, Edmonton is a very fast team.
Mm-hmm.
And, they can surprise some people, but yeah, I don't know. I thought there was going to be a much better series than it was. I thought Calgary actually was going to end up on top, but yeah.
I think everyone did. And I think that was like a fair judgment. And then, unfortunately, didn't end up that way. But you're draft eligible this year.
Yeah.
What are the emotions going into that, knowing that it's 2 weeks away?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm very hopeful. I think I've done I think I've done enough to be able to be drafted. I think, it's just something that, there's not really a whole lot I can do now. It's all what happened, what I've done, in previous seasons. I'm just going to keep working towards what I want to do. And, even the draft isn't, it's not like a huge decision. Like even if I don't get drafted, I'm not going to just not keep trying to make the NHL.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it would be amazing to get drafted, but at the end of the day, the end goal is to play in the NHL, not to get drafted. So
Exactly. And, that's a great way to put it, because I do think that some people do think the draft is like the end all be all, but there are plenty of players who have gone undrafted, like Torrey Krug, great defenseman, just undrafted free agent out of Michigan State. Yeah.
mhm.
And just, it's not, like you said, it's the goal is to play in the NHL, not just to get drafted.
For sure.
What are some things that, this is your off season, correct?
Yeah.
So what are you doing to keep yourself busy and occupied?
Well, I have my off ice training 5 days a week. And then on the weekends, I'll either go golfing, or I'll be going to Calgary usually, actually, for ice with David Marcoux, who has been my goalie coach for quite some time. So I'll get my goalie sessions in there on the weekends, and also during the week, like where I am now, I'm in Lethbridge right now currently, for just some ice during the week. So I'm staying with my grandma here for 3 days a week, so that I can skate.
That's awesome. It's obviously grandma's love is unconditional, but it's very sweet to have her just open her house to you during the off season. How is she feeling about all of this?
Yeah, I mean, she's always I actually lived with her during my first year bantam. I lived here my first year bantam because I grew up in Fernie. There's not a lot of high level hockey really anywhere near Fernie, so the closest place really was Lethbridge. So she took me in. I moved in here and played my bantam years here, and then I went to NAX after. But yeah, no, she's still been the same. Every time I need a place to stay here, yeah.
That's really sweet. I'm sure she's, sure she loves the company and is rooting for you and all the things that grandmas do. So you do some work in Calgary.
I do. Yeah.
Have you had a chance to be around anyone from the Flames organization, whether that be, the front office or anything like that?
No, I haven't. Although David Marcoux, a long time ago, he was the Flames goalie coach.
Mm-hmm.
This was back when Mika Kiprusoff was there, so it was a while ago. But he was the goalie coach there, so that's pretty much, the closest thing to an employee of the Flames that have been around this.
So you're learning from someone who has coached one of the greatest goaltenders ever.
Yeah.
How does that feel? Like, do you ever catch yourself being like, I've worked my whole life for this and it's, paying off and I'm finally getting a taste of what might be next?
Yeah, it's a little weird because, I mean, it just seemed like, not even like maybe a year ago, it seemed like the NHL was still so far away, but now it's like the draft is coming up. It's like right here. So yeah, it's definitely a little weird, but yeah, I mean, definitely getting a little closer is showing some signs that I'm slowly getting there. And I just want to keep pushing for it.
That's awesome. So are you going to be at home for the draft, or are you going to be in Montreal?
Uh, I think I'll be at home. I don't have anything planned to go to Montreal. So
Well,
yeah.
that's exciting. Um, do you know anything about like the preparation that you have to do like that week? Like, are you gonna just be waiting for a phone call or, you know, hoping and anticipating everything? Or is it just kind of like that night you'll get a phone call and say, hey, we're so and so, and you know?
To be honest, I don't really actually really know a whole lot. I'm just gonna be doing my thing until the draft comes up, and then yeah, pretty much the way that the WHL draft works was I actually got a call from the Medicine Hat Tigers. They didn't even draft me. I got drafted by Spokane, so that was a little weird. But yeah, that was my experience then. So I don't know if it's going to be too different now or not. Not too sure what to expect, but yeah, really excited.
That's I can't even imagine like the emotions and everything, just like the excitement surrounding it, because you know, you, like you said, you've worked your whole life for this and you're continuing to put in the work. You're young and like it, based on your accolades and your performance, you know, the future's bright. um do you, you know, how long are you on a contract with um the Royals? Like, how does that work?
Well, yeah, technically there's when you sign, it's a standard player agreement, which is basically you're just well, actually you get listed first, which basically means that you're protected by that team.
Okay.
And yeah, you do get signed, but it's not like a contract per se. But yeah, you can't just move anywhere else. For that to happen, you have to either get a release or be traded. So yeah, I'm planning on going back to Victoria next year.
Okay, yeah, that, you know, that makes sense. They don't want you just up and leaving them and then they're without their goaltender. But how, like, what what has it been like? Just, you know, clearly you've had to move and uproot yourself a few different times. Like, uh, you're probably living out of boxes most of the time.
Yeah, I've learned how to pack up pretty quickly. So uh, yeah, I've moved quite a few times. I mean, even just especially during the COVID thing last year, we went and then we got shut down, had to go back home. So I moved back home, and then we started back up again after like a month. So I moved back. And then at the end of the season, I moved back home. Actually, no, then I moved billets because my billets sold their house. So I moved to a new billets, and then I moved back home after the season. It was that year was a lot of moving. So yeah, I've kind of learned how to stay mobile.
That is crazy. I can't even imagine having to be like an efficient packer basically on the side. So with billet families, do you get to like interview with them and say like, okay, this would be a good fit? Or do they just, does the organization just say, okay, here's mom and dad and two kids?
Yeah, basically, you just get kind of put with a billet family. And every billet family I've had has been great. I have heard of some people moving billets. They switch billets because it's not a great fit. I haven't had that experience yet. But yeah, that is kind of how it's done. They just kind of
They throw
it's
you
depending on
oh.
they do it depending on who has vehicles, you know, like travel distance, and then like how many
Okay.
rooms are available, all that, and then they just kind of fit you with your billets, and then they, if there's any problems, they work that out after.
That's cool. I mean, I've seen that, you know, most billet families and the player, like they go on to have like a lifelong friendship or like some sort of relationship. Are you still in touch with any of yours?
Yeah, I think all of them. I yeah, my very first ones when I went to NAX.
Mm-hmm.
I actually I skated with my little billet brother just this summer, and we stayed at their house. So yeah, we're definitely friends now. I stayed there for 2 years, so we got to know them pretty well. They're great people, and also when I went to Spruce Grove, we still stayed in touch with those billets. We had a visit with them this summer as well. And then yeah, my billets just this year, we've gotten to know pretty well. They allowed my mom, was it both my parents were there, I think. I don't know if both my parents or just my mom, but either way, they let them stay there along with the two other players that were in the house.
Wow.
So yeah, they're great people as well. So I've never had any issues with billets.
That's awesome. And especially to have them open their house to your parents on top of hosting 3 players, like that's a crowd. But what else, like what outside of hockey do you like to do? I mean, I know it takes up most of your time, but is there anything that you do to kind of decompress from a game? Because all of it, like, hockey's your job, and all of us decompress in different ways from our jobs.
Yeah, I play guitar quite a bit. That's something I do. Also, I live in Victoria now during the season, so if we did get a day off or something, it stays relatively warm most of the year, so we can actually go golfing. So that's a lot of fun. And then during the summers, this isn't really relative to during the season at all, but in the summer, I also play some like mixed slow pitch.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
So you keep yourself busy and occupied. That's good. Do you have a favorite song or artist you like to play on the guitar? I know, sorry to put you on the spot with that.
Yeah, I know that one's a tough one. I've been learning a lot of Morgan Wallen songs
Okay.
as of lately. Them, and then also I learned a lot of Foo Fighters songs.
Okay.
Actually.
Right.
So there's a little bit of mix there, but yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I don't know, I grew up playing guitar and saxophone, so like I get like the musical and creative outlet. I think it's definitely like one of the most relaxing and therapeutic forms for sure.
Yeah.
So do you have anything you want to add, or pitch yourself to Flames fans for your upcoming season with the Royals?
Yeah, no, I'm really excited to see what we got next year. I'm gonna keep doing what I do, play my hardest, and I think we can really do something next year in the league, and yeah, hopefully, definitely get set up to go pro, and hopefully for the Flames. So that would be awesome.
Yeah, we love a good goaltender in Calgary. So Brad Tree Living, I'll give him a call myself and say, listen, I talked to the kid, draft him.
Yeah.
But
that would be great.
Yeah, no, I'll call him right after this and make sure that he knows. But are you on social media? Can fans find you somewhere, or are you like more private?
Yeah, I have my Twitter. Actually, here, hold on. I don't know if my face went away because I don't actually know.
But that's okay.
Yeah, I'm just I gotta make sure I'm getting my username right. It's at Tyler_Palmer 31.
Awesome. I will throw that down in the show notes so people can follow you and follow along with your journey. Thank you so much for joining me. It's like 9:00 there. Or is it?
Yeah, it's currently 9:20.
Yeah, and it's still light out. So
It is. It's light out till
incredible.
after 10 here and right now. It's pretty.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining me after a long day. I appreciate it. And best of luck when it comes to the draft and, of course, your future endeavors, and obviously next season with the Royals.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course.